Thank y'all for being here. It's appreciated. I was just advised by legal counsel that we have to run this meeting by the open meeting law since we have a quorum of council members here. So I will have the roll call, please.
Hasjev? Here. Guston? Here. Zadra? Absent. Sferaza? Here. Dorch? Absent. Niazi? Here. Cashell?
Here. So we have a quorum. Any public comment at this section? Oh, good. That's the first time in 10 and a half years that's ever happened. But we're going to move on. We're here tonight to talk about the state of the city and how things are going. I am going to open this up, and then I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Klinger that will go through all of the budgets and different things and answer your questions. We will have questions and answers at the end of it to be able to talk with you. You know, a couple of years ago, our city manager left. We had 3 or 4 interim city managers, different things. So we started looking for a new city manager. In 11, we came up with Andrew Klinger. I remember going down to Carson City and interview Andrew at the urging of several council people for me to go do that. So I went down, and eventually I think all the different council people went down and met with Andrew. Well, Andrew's been with us about a year now, and he's put together a marvelous staff, a strong staff of individuals that do the work and make it accountable. And the transparency is really super with what they're working on. And here shortly, you will see every salaried employee on the internet. You will know their benefits. You'll know their overtime pay. You'll know everything about what the city employees make and how they do it. And I don't mean just one. I'm talking about 100% of all the city employees. Andrew took over during some troubled financial times. He realized one of the first things he told me is, we got to get this thing shaped up financially, where we know where we are and what we're doing and how to work it. And this year's budget presentation was as professional as I've ever seen a budget done at the city of Reno, and one of the best I've even seen when I was in private enterprise. Today is a sad day because I think I've been blessed with having the best city council this city's ever had. I've had people that agree to disagree. They fight with each other. They argue about things. They discuss, but they still agree to disagree, and let's go on with life. We lose people today that amount to over 55 years of history and knowledge in our Reno City Council, of knowing what goes on, how things are made, how you make things happen, and what all you do. So the 4 council people that we lose today, or we lose in November, there's 8 good candidates running for the Reno City Council. I've seen some strong people. I've met with some of them, and I'm trying to meet with all of them. A lot of them are here tonight. We sent them a message asking them to come if they wanted to be here. But if they couldn't for some reason, we will open the door so that they can see where the budget is and things like that. We have one area that we have a problem with, and that's a revenue bonds. But the city manager will be covering that shortly and going through them. But it's kind of like my friend Ty Cobb told me one time about the train trench. Well, those bonds are in a little trouble right now, but they're based on revenue. He said, tell them to repossess it. I thought, that's not a bad idea. So I told the guys, hey, repossess the train trench. Who cares? You deal with the railroad. A lot of people didn't like to hear that, but we did get a 2-year forbearance on the payments and everything, and they're working with us. All of the bondholders are working with us. So I'm not going to go on. I just want to tell you that I want to recognize Jessica Safraza. She's been here for 12 years, done a great job and worked very hard. Dave Azzi's been here for 16 years and done a marvelous job, a great job. Dan Gustin's been here for 8 years, been an outstanding councilman, done a great job. Pierre Heshef has been here for almost 20 years. There will never be another city councilman under the way the setup is now to serve that many years, and one that has been dedicated to this city. All of these people have been very dedicated. They work very hard. They put in the time. They cover anywhere from 8 to 12 different committee assignments. So anybody thinks this is a part-time job, you better look up the definition of part-time city council, because there are 8 committees or 10, 12 committees, and you're expected to be at each one of those committees and not just have staff at those committees. So what I want to do now, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Klinger, because, you know, when you get above adding 2 and 2, I get a little lost. So I wanted to make sure that Mr. Klinger gives you in depth of what you want to see. Then we'll be glad to answer any questions you have. But during the presentation, we're not going to take questions. We'll take them at the end. So make yourself notes and stuff, and we'll look at them. And thank you again for all y'all being here. Andrew?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the introduction, and good evening, everyone, tonight, and good evening, City Council members. I welcome the opportunity to deliver my first State of the City address to you and the Reno community. From now on, this will be an annual occurrence. One of the hallmarks of my leadership to date has been a fundamental commitment to transparency and accountability. I believe that good government should be open government, and that open government requires regular and frank communications. My comments tonight will cover the highlights of the fiscal year that just closed and look forward to what the next fiscal year and future years hold. When I became the city manager in June of 2011, the city was facing a precarious financial future. The council's primary mandate to me at the time was to stabilize our finances and get the city on solid ground. I'm here to say that that mandate has been fulfilled. The good news is that the city's finances for fiscal year 2013 are on stable ground. I've heard people say the city is going bankrupt. This is simply not the case. This year, for the first time since 2007, our adopted budget will not drain any reserves. It doesn't call for any employee layoffs or program cuts. I'd now like to review how far we've come. This time last year, we were contemplating another reduction in force, and we had been relying on one-time budget fixes. Our bond rating was in serious jeopardy. We were unsure what measures to take to reverse what appeared to be a downward spiral. At the direction of the City Council and under my leadership, the city reviewed all its programs and practices. Staff rolled up their sleeves and looked for new efficiencies and innovations. We've realigned several departments to focus on accountability and sustainability. We reached agreements with most of our bargaining groups, which included significant wage and benefit reductions for employees. All departments re-examined their core services and identified ways to deliver those services more efficiently and more effectively. City operations are now more streamlined and performance-driven. Reno is becoming a strategy-focused organization. This means that we know what we want to accomplish, and we will direct our limited resources to achieve those goals. These efficiencies flowed into the 2013 budget. Although it is lean, it will still fund core city services relating to public safety and economic development, both of which the council made top priorities. For example, we will add 12 new police officers and undertake a pilot parking project in the Midtown neighborhood. We will also fund senior programs and the triage center, which will contribute to our community's quality of life. And let me reiterate, our budget is balanced and we are not facing a crisis. We do, however, face some challenges. As the mayor talked about, those challenges relate to some of our long-term debt The city of Reno has approximately $540 million in bonds outstanding. This is a reduction of $26 million over the previous year, but still is an issue to address as part of our long-term financial sustainability. Most of this debt, $375 million, is in the form of revenue bonds that have dedicated sources of revenue and in no way threaten the city's general fund. In some instances, the dedicated revenue has not been as high as the city and the bond buyers anticipated when the bonds were issued. We will continually monitor our bonds and work with the bondholders to ensure the commitments made by the city are kept and we are meeting our obligations. As the city manager, I directed a complete review of our bonds. As a result, we identified actions we can take now to improve our position. One action is that the city of Reno is part of arbitration with Goldman Sachs regarding certain auction rate security bonds that were issued by the city. As we move forward, we will continue to work with our creditors, and I will continue to keep the City Council and the community informed about the city's long-term financial security. Another important challenge we will address this year is the unfunded liabilities facing the city of Reno. Many of you have read about cities around the country changing various pensions and benefits as a means to bring those costs more in line with projected revenues. Reno is no different. We need to carefully analyze and potentially revisit how our benefits are structured so that the city will have a sound fiscal base as we move into the future. We must take the next logical step to begin to fund these liabilities, much like a pension plan versus the current pay-as-you-go strategy we employ now. Our long-term sustainability is crucial to providing citizens with the essential services they need. I am being clear and frank with you because I believe that this is the best way for our community to understand and begin to resolve the problems we face. Our pledge is that we will keep you fully informed as our analysis and findings unfold. We will provide you regular updates to the City Council and to the residents. The City Council's commitment to open government and transparency led the city to launch several new initiatives this year to give residents unprecedented access to information about their local government. As an example, the online checkbook launched last February gives residents the ability to see year-to-date expenditures in each department of the city. By clicking, an individual can see how the various departments spend money in the various programs that they implement. In the near future, we will roll out 2 more links, as the mayor mentioned. One will show all city employees' salary and benefits, and another will be a staff directory with direct contact information to city staff. As an extension of open government, City Hall itself will become more open to citizens in the near future. This summer, we will remove the staff-only entrances so that the public will be free to enter the building from First Street and from the parking garage next door. We will co-locate key services that the public uses every day, like sewer payments and building permits, on the 2nd floor of City Hall, with dedicated and fully accessible parking on the same level. This will create a one-stop permit shop for our residents and our business owners. Over the next year, the public will see other new developments as well. In advancing our commitment to transparency and open government, the public will soon, for the first time, have access to information about how well each of our programs meets the community's goals. We will develop an online tool so that citizens will be able, with one click, to see how well we deliver key services. For example, how quickly we respond to citizen complaints, how many code enforcement issues we resolve, and how many neighborhood streets we improve. Tomorrow, we will kick off the rehabilitation of the Moana Springs in the Southwest. The community is invited to a demolition party that will be the first step in creating multi-purpose flat fields and hopefully down the road a new aquatic center. This project is the result of an effective public-private partnership which was spearheaded by the community and council members Savaraza and Zadra. On the north side of town, we plan the restoration of the city's newest park, Beaumont, the former Northgate Golf Course, into open space and a city park. I'm also excited about the future of the post office site. After more than 20 years of discussion, a local developer has purchased the post office. He will restore this beautiful historic building to its former glory and renovate it into a vibrant commercial center. Under the terms we negotiated, he is required to preserve the historical aspects of the building as he plans to use the space to its full potential. And his plans also require final approval by the Reno City Council. And of course, the Virginia Street Bridge replacement, which has been in development for the last few years, will also move forward. Thank you to all the residents who participated in the design process. This long-awaited project represents the council's focus not only on infrastructure, but public safety and economic development as well. We are positioning Reno for a future with a more diversified economy. One illustration of this is Apple's recent decision to locate their new data center and business office here in the Truckee Meadows. This is a $1 billion investment over 10 years. It shows that working together as a region with our state and local partners, Reno can attract investment. Companies like Apple are betting on the future of Reno, and I couldn't agree more. Looking ahead, Reno is in a unique position. Judging from recent trends we've seen with respect to consolidated tax revenues and property values, it appears that the worst of the Great Recession is coming to an end. We've hit the bottom and will now start our slow climb back. From now on, the question becomes, how do we regrow? What does our community want its city government to be? And what should we focus on this year, next year, and 5 years from now? I'd also like to take a moment to say thank you to those who make local government work. First is all the city employees who have worked hard through these difficult years. Even facing economic uncertainty, their dedication to improve the quality of life in Reno has never diminished. And to the many volunteers we rely on every day to do the work of the city, from parks and recreation programs to public safety, the important services we provide are improved tremendously by these civic-minded residents. And finally, I would also like to thank the Reno City Council. As the mayor stated, this particular group of individuals has served together for many years, and with the leadership of Mayor Bob Cashell, they have led this community through good times and bad, and they have left an enduring imprint on the city of Reno. I welcome the opportunities that lie ahead. I firmly believe the lessons we learned during the last 5 years can be put to good use. Reno is my home. I grew up in Northern Nevada and graduated from the University of Nevada, Reno. My children attend Reno schools and play sports on Reno's fields. I, along with all the other city staff, am part of this community and have a vested interest in its success. With leadership and a clear shared vision, Reno has the ability, the talent, and the can-do spirit to position itself as the 21st century's biggest little city in the world. Thank you.
Questions and answers?
Yeah.